G'day folks, how you going? Over the years I've bought a lot of products from 4-wheel-drive super centre or Kings, and I thought I might have a bit of a chat about my thoughts on some of them. So the first product that I might chat about is my biggest purchase I had, and that was the Rooftop Tent. I bought that last year just before we went to Mount Augustus, because while I do most of my travelling in the caravan, going out to Mount Augustus, it's not a road that I can use, it's gravel roads, and this thing wasn't designed for gravel roads. So I thought I would get a rooftop tent and stick it on the car and go with that and see how it works. And I didn't have a lot of money to spend, so the Kings one was in the right price range for me. And I have read about people saying about the Kings products not being very good and that, but I mean, look, it all comes down to, you know, how much you spend and what you expect from it. You cannot compare a $700 rooftop tent to a $2,000 rooftop tent. It's clearly going to be different. But this is something I wouldn't be using all the time. It'd only be sometimes I'd use it, so I thought I'd give it a go. Putting it on the car was easy. Attaching it to the car was easy. I tell you what, I slept really well in that tent. It was absolutely brilliant. I had no problems with setting it up or pulling it down. We have also got the awning that goes around, not the awning, the little extra room that goes underneath it. We got that one as well, not that we really used it on that trip, but we stuck it up just to see what it was like, and we had no problems getting that on there. It worked all well. My only concerns were, particularly if you've got that room underneath, it's got a floor in the bottom of that room, and when you put the ladder down on the floor, it's going to push a hole through the bottom of the floor because of the way the legs sit down. So that needed really some kind of better design, better footing, so that it doesn't push through. I'm actually going to take a block of wood with me to put on the bottom of the feet, so the feet can sit on that, and that way it won't push through the floor. So that's how I'm going to solve that problem. As I said, getting in and out it was alright. The sleeping in it was brilliant. I put some extra thick matting underneath the mattress to stop the cold from coming through. We got a little bit of rain, it never leaked inside. My only little concern I had was when it folds up, as the bottom bit attaches to the tubing, it pulls out of there. Every time I open and close it, it pulls out, and I've got to keep putting it back in. That's a pain in the backside. I did contact Kings and said to them I wasn't happy with that, something not right here. And basically they sent me a video of how to fix it, and I'd already told them I'd fixed it 4 times and it keeps coming out all the time. So not impressed with that response. It was basically telling me how to suck an egg. So I guess I'll have to put up with that. So that's a down part on that. The straps that you put over the top of the cover that goes over the top, which holds the whole lot down, real easy to put the straps on, and to do them up, pain in the ass to get the bloody things off again, because it's got the weight on it, and it's a velcro strap that goes around a couple of rings. You feed it through the rings to hold it tight. It's the same as when you fold the roof over and put the strap around that to hold that down. Same thing, easy to put in, pain in the ass to get off. But I don't think any other rooftop tent would have any other system that would be any better. I mean, whatever you use to hold it down under tension, it's going to be a bugger to get back off again. So yeah, it's just a bit fiddly. But Overall, I don't have a problem with the rooftop tent. I think it's pretty good. Alright, so the next one is spotlights. Now these ones are the 7-inch spotlights. These are the ones that they had before they got those new Osram brand ones. They came out about maybe 6 months after I bought these, which if I hadn't known that I probably would have waited and then bought those ones instead. Now again, you know, these cost I think about 80 bucks or something for the pair of them. Can't remember exactly. But they're cheap, so you can't compare them to a $1,000 set of spotlights. Now they say in their blurb for these ones, at 750 metres it has 1 lux of light. Big deal. I don't care that there's 1 candle power light at 750 metres. I just want to be able to see sort of 500 metres in front, because the sign that's down the road at 750 metres, I'll read that when I get closer to it. I want to see what's sort of in front of me, you know. Now, I had these on when I went onto parts of the Gibb River Road. I went into Bungle Bungles, and that road was a crap load worse than what the Gibb River Road was, and I haven't had any problems whatsoever. From the day I bolted these on here, I've never had to touch any of these bolts. Still good. I've never had to touch any of these bolts. They've never come loose. The spotlights have never moved. The brackets are still perfect. So you know, a lot of people are saying they're breaking and all that sort of thing. Well, I can't see it. They're still as good now as what they were then. Granted, I don't do some really high-end four-wheel driving like some people do, but for the general, they're working fine. Now, a little bit of video of when I used them going into Derby, but I did have the plastic cover still on them, and I found they well and truly cover the light out in front of me a lot better than what my high beams were doing. I've also got the light bar up the top, and the light bar fills in the gaps around here where the spotlights head further out. To me, that is a great combination of the two of them. I had no problems installing them. I got the wiring harness that came with them, and it was just basically click, 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 and it was all in. The hardest part about putting my lights in was getting into the corner here where my headlights are to be able to attach the thing in there, and that's just because there's so much stuff inside the bonnet of this car. There's not enough room for anything, and that was the fiddliest part of actually putting them in. So I got no problem with these, except for maybe I wish I could have got the Osram ones instead of these ones, because I think they might be just a little bit better again. But they were cheap and they certainly do the job. So another one of their products that I got, and I think this is probably the first thing I ever bought from them, was this little car computer, you know, resetting of the code type machine thing they got here. I forgot what they call it. I got that one and put that in. Again, installing that was not a problem. It was clip it into the little box underneath and away it goes. I've got to admit, for my car, I think it's a little less than useless. It doesn't really fit to my car. Some of the codes it comes up, it can't find. I had an incident while I was up in Mount Augustus, had a code come up and it didn't even know anything about it, couldn't do nothing with it, so it kind of defeated its purpose. It does the mileage and all that sort of thing, but I can't get it to work properly. This is another product that I actually went back to King's and asked for some help on, and all they done was directed me to a website where I could download the manual, and I've already got the manual. It comes with the thing, and that manual's a little less than useless. It doesn't actually tell you, it tells you what it does, but it doesn't actually tell you how to go about making it do that, and you know, if you're not understanding the terms they're referring to, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to you. My biggest thing is because I put the extra size fuel tank in here, my fuel gauge isn't accurate anymore, and I want to use this to try and keep tabs of how much fuel's left in the tank. So it does give me certain bits of information which is useful. It tells me what your voltage is. Here it's telling me my water temperature, my intake air temperature, and whatever MAP is, but you know, 102 manifold air pressure, I think that is from memory. 102 watt. You know, I mean temperature. I know, obviously know that's 24 degrees, but you know, things like this sort of information. If you want to change, see, load 57, 58 watt. You know, what is it a measurement of? This is the sort of information that, you know, it sort of helps you to understand how this thing works. So it's when it comes to the fuel, you know, like tank, for instance. Go in the tank, 19.5 litres per 100. Well, that's not right. You know, it says I've used 2,387 litres since I've reset this last, and I only reset this about a month ago. So there's no way in the world I've gone through that much, and that is affected by how much fuel you actually it thinks you're using. So when I set it up with a full tank, it goes through the full tank, then I add in my next time I fill the tank up how much fuel I put in, and then from there on it goes wacko, it goes silly and doesn't do. It's clearly not communicating properly with my vehicle. I just can't get it to work properly. It just, you know, yeah, it just doesn't work properly. So that's one product I'm not happy about. Now, one of their best products that I've got is right inside this fridge. This is it here. It's just a fridge temperature gauge. At the end of the day, it's really just an indoor-outdoor temperature gauge which you can buy from anywhere, but they've got fridge written on it. But we use it to be able to keep an eye on the temperature of inside the fridge while we're driving down the road in the car. So I guess the big question is, what is the range of this device? So how well does it work when you're sitting in the car? Now, when you consider it's sitting in the fridge here inside a metal box, have a look how well this works. This is in the house, long distance away from where the caravan is, and it still tells me how much, what the temperature is inside the van. The batteries on this, I change them about every year, and I reckon this is probably one of the best products I've ever bought from them, because I've got no problems with it whatsoever. So there you go, that's my thoughts on the few things that I've got from the King's range of products. Other things there I'm looking at a one of them solar panels, one of them fold-up ones maybe. Haven't really decided, but yeah, looking at something like that, and a couple of other things there of interest as well. So if I get them, I'll make my comments on that as well. But anyway, so if you like that video, then give it a thumbs up, or if you found it useful to you. Also down the bottom, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos. And there's a little bell next to it that'll let you know when I upload a video. I don't upload every week, I only upload every once in a while, so I'm not going to inundate you with a crap load of different videos. But anyway, so that's it for this one. So till next time, happy travels.